Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, I am very happy to be showing you the Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers SAGAT. SAGAT's one of my favorite characters of all time, and we've had some decent figures of him lately, or at least one, and not so much else. So this is a very nice thing to see, and it's a perfect example of why I've been talking so positively about Jada. Now, don't get that mixed up with me saying only good things. I'm still going to give this a proper review. That's especially true even though they sent this as a review sample. I requested this one in Blanca since I never find them locally. Like, I haven't seen a single... I saw one Fei Long, but that's the only Jada figure I've ever seen in store. So I said, hey, can I get some review samples, please? And they said, here you go. So that's very nice. Thanks to them for that. I get to show you this a little bit sooner, but I still will be reviewing it as a proper review. No matter what, that's what I do. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's the same kind of packaging as before, but a little bit bigger, which is still nice. I like that. Very good packaging. Nice artwork. Nice everything. You know, it's a good style package. I like that it has a window on the top. This is a big deal for people who do keep their figures in the box. It helps get a little bit of extra light in there. But this awesome giant window is the way to do it, if you ask me. A lot of companies cover things up, and this is not covered up. This is good. So yeah, good packaging. I don't keep the packaging, but some people do, so they asked me to review it. The people, not Jada, and so I do. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this guy measured. He stands roughly 7 3/4 inches tall, and that's going to be just about 19.8 centimeters. Here he is up against his younger brother. And there you go. So you can see in 1/12 scale, SAGAT fits in pretty well. Now, this isn't giant SAGAT. This is some kind of mix of the SAGATs. Yeah, we're still not entirely sure which version of these characters we're getting, because it's not the Ultra whatever Ultimate, this one. It's not really this Ultra, the Final Challengers, because that's not quite what these are. These are closer to like a mix of that and the original Street Fighter 2 looks. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's an amalgamation that apparently Capcom wants, so that's fine. I'll take it. Okay, so this guy, I'll put a link in the description below if you want to pre-order him at Big Bad Toy Store. If you don't, then don't use that link. But there you go. Okay, so let's talk about this question of the day first. Which color are you about? Are you only player one, or will you pick whichever color is your favorite look for a character? Historically, I'm a player one guy, except I tend to skew towards the turbo colors when given the chance. So I would love to see a turbo color for SAGAT here. I hope they do lots of repaints. But let's talk about this one. Aesthetically speaking, it's really, really nice. The skin tone's pretty darn good. He's got a nice matte finish all the way around. The shorts are a little metallic. So I think they're meant to look like his shiny shorts, for sure. So that's a good thing. The wraps, we'll start with that, because that's probably one of the weakest parts of this figure. It's a small part, but it is a part. We have this kind of, it's not really dirtying, it's just a shading line, and the lines don't quite line up with where they're supposed to be on this side. Maybe yours will when you get one. This side's a little bit better. I think they would have done well to make the wraps textured, like the shorts. I mean, not like the shorts, but a similar sort of texture, and then throw a wash on there rather than this sort of straight line shading is just kind of weird on that. But it's not the worst, and it gives it some character. Same thing down here with the ankles. Exact same situation as up there on the hand. So it could be a little bit better there, but that's not exactly a huge detail. The flesh tones throughout have shading on them. The shading is okay, much like the previous releases. It's questionably placed. It's better than not having it, but having it and then making it not right is also... it's like a trade-off. Let's do another question of the day. Would you rather have no shading? These aren't the only two options in real life, but for the question they are. Would you rather have no shading at all, or shading that's there but not as well placed as it could be? Ooh, that's a tough one, actually. I think I'd rather have the shading, because at least if you're not looking too close, you don't notice it. But yeah, definitely, I would rather have the shading. But it's not perfectly placed, so be aware of that. But the skin tone's really nice, and I have to say, probably the best thing about this figure is the scar. They did a really good job on the scar. It's really, 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 really well painted, and it is sculpted, and when you pose him, it carries through. So that's nice. As for the head on this guy, it's one of the better Jada heads, if not the best one so far. It still does have that sort of, I don't want to say cartoonish, but it's close. It's like an almost cartoonish version of the character. And I know people keep saying, no, it matches this. It doesn't. They don't match anything. And that's fine. It doesn't have to, but stop saying it is. Just accept it for what it is. It's some kind of softer version of the artwork. It doesn't quite match the sprites. It doesn't quite match anything. It's just like a general look for them, which is fine. It's fine. And I think this one is a really good one for the face. And then also for the body, like this is a nice looking figure. It does still have the generally soft sculpt. Like you can see in his legs, there's no muscle definition. It's almost like a Dragon Ball figure where you just have the two straight lines for the quads. I mean, there's a little bit extra there as we come around here, but barely. So it is still a fairly soft sculpt in terms of the musculature, which is why, again, I say it's a particular style they're going for. That's fine. Some people want it more realistic. I would probably be in that vein, but it's still fine. It's still, I mean, that's a choice they made, and it's all right. So yeah, it looks pretty good. The proportioning is really good. I'd say the biggest issue for the anatomy on this guy is just because they had to put the shorts on here. And this is a tough one because sometimes you might want to have the shorts so that they're tied up against the leg on the inside, and that way you could bring the legs closer together, or you could center the leg in the shorts and do your thigh swivel situation, which is what they did. So it does kind of split the legs out a little bit wide. Same thing at the hips. I'd like to see all of that just tightened in a little bit, but that's a very small thing. He still looks incredibly good, and all for a few bucks more than a Marvel Legends figure. It's just nuts what you can do with a little bit of care and attention. And so this guy, I think, as of right now I have Blanca also, and he's going to dethrone this guy, but as of right now, this guy's the figure of the line. He is by far the best one in the line, if you ask me. And you can't say, well, it's because he's more expensive. He's more expensive because of his size, and he's not getting bonus points for being big. He's getting bonus points for being well done. So anyway, aesthetically speaking, for the price point, 9 out of 10. Really, really good. Room for improvement. The shading definitely is a thing that they need to fix, because they've been doing this problematic shading since the beginning, really. And I guess another thing I didn't mention it, is the paint job here on the top part of the foot versus the toes. It doesn't really match. Now, that's a pretty small issue, and again, we're talking about a relatively low price point, but it is an issue that may bother you, so I have to mention it. Alright, now let's talk about accessories. We have the 2 fist hands, we have the 2 clenchy hands. That's it. I think that's all you need for him. He's almost always doing a fist or a clench. I don't think he does any karate chops or things like that, if I can remember correctly. And then we have the alternate heads. We have the normal head, and then the angry head. In some ways, I like the angry head even more. It's very nicely done, but you can look at the eyes and the mouth and see that it does have that cartoonish flair, which is not my personal cup of tea, but it is well done for this line. Like I said, probably the best set of heads in this line. And then we do get his fireball, which is also really nicely done. They did a good job not putting any seams along the front and making it nice and transparent with the red on the back. Really good. And you get the stand to hold it up, of course. Yeah, I'm pleased. That's all you need for Sagat. Realistically, that's plenty. So, and at the price point, 9 out of 10. Again, Jada's by far, without a doubt, giving you the most bang for your buck. I think maybe out of everyone making human action figures, I only say that because 3-0 is kind of killing it with robots right now, but for humans, Jada is king as of right now. Okay, let's talk about the articulation, because they did it basically exactly the way I would do it, except for one thing. And we're going to talk about it. So, we have double ball peg at the top of the head, ball peg at the... Oh, I forgot to mention the other thing I needed to mention for the aesthetic. They added the neck scar and the head scar, which is interesting, because I don't think anybody's ever done that. It matches the portrait on the character selection thing or whatever, but... So they added that, and in one way I like it. I'm glad they did that, but on the other way, I don't, because the neck one is just paint. So this one right next to it, essentially, like you're not going to not see it, is sculpted and painted. This is painted. At a distance, it's fine. Up close, you can see that it's just a paint job. Don't love flat paint jobs like that. I don't, like, it's not going to make me not buy the figure, but that's a thing. Then they did the head scar in a different color, and it's very poorly painted, unfortunately. So... I'm actually kind of torn about them adding those details. At first I was like, oh, that's awesome, but then I looked closer and I was like, I don't love that. I probably won't focus on those areas, and I'll be fine. But again, this is a review, and I have to cover everything so you guys can decide what's important for you. Alright, so back to the articulation. Ball peg in the neck, double ball peg at the head, and you can just do whatever you need to do, because that is how you articulate an action figure. The fact that this figure costs less than the Super Spider-Man or whatever it's called, Maximum, is just crazy to me, because this one actually functions so much better for what it is. Of course, they didn't give him giant drop-down hips to do Spider-Man poses, but I would pick this over that 1,000 times before I finally would grab a Spider-Man. Okay, so yeah, the neck works really, really nicely. Love that. You could even actually, they could have squeaked a little bit more out of that head if they wanted to, but as you can tell, you don't even need it. It's so easy to make necks good with double ball pegs. Butterfly joint. This is the one thing that I'm still torn about butterfly joints, guys. I like the added posability, and they did a decent one, but does it actually offer that much? Like, it only really lets him bring his arm across his chest up like that, and is that really necessary? I don't know. And does it go far enough? It doesn't really go that far. Like, yes, it does work, but I'm not sure it's worth cutting up and reshaping the chest. Going back is nice. I think going back is more useful than going forward in a lot of cases, but then you do have that extra that extra pectoral lump, which is a problem. And just because we've been talking about articulation a lot on my live streams and things, you do also get a different chest shape because of that. He's got a very narrow, thick chest, whereas in real life, the pecs would obviously be a lot more meaty out this way. I don't know if we were in focus there. The pecs would be a lot more meaty out this way, and they can't do that with the butterfly joint. So it's not super obvious or anything. It's not really a problem. But let's do another question of the day. Do you guys like the joints? I'm guessing on a fighting figure, most of you would rather have the joints. Or would you rather have a really fleshed out chest that looks much better? Let me know. I think it's 50-50 really for me. I haven't decided what I prefer. I think I'd probably lean towards this on a fighter so that you get the better poses. Alright, so for the shoulders, of course, full range. No problems there. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow. No problem. He does have the super tight elbow bend, which is good. We do still have the kind of mushy looking biceps as a result. I think they could probably tweak that a little bit, but every one of their figures has had these sort of biceps that kind of taper down too early, but once you bend his elbows, it's fine. And then we have, oh yeah, the wrists. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge, that's fine. Alright, diaphragm joint on this guy. Look at this, double ball peg and single ball peg. You don't need any weird hinges, you just ball pegs, and they connected it all the way through. If you don't like that gap, just move it up just a little bit. And look at that. Look at that. This guy's way chunkier than like 99% of Marvel Legends, and it has better range in just some super basic ball pegs. That's all you need. It's what I've been preaching for the longest time, and I'm so thrilled to see a company doing it and doing it really well. His twists don't work as well because he is a little ovular, but it does work. So if you need to twist him, you can do that. And you can force it even farther if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend it. Shorts are technically soft. That's a good thing because they allow him to kick, look at that, pretty high. That is not bad at all with the chunky legs and everything. That's nice. He kicks straight forward. They don't have to fling out. I mean, they move out just a touch, I guess. I could probably force it. There you go. Better than horizontal, so that's really, really nice. And then they do go back a little bit, going out to the side. Look at these thick hips. Full splits, no nuggets. Why can't Spider-Man do that? It's amazing to me. That's one good thing for Hasbro, is they show everybody how not to do things, and Jada's doing the exact opposite, so that's awesome. Thigh swivel down here, that's great, hidden under the shorts. Double jointed knee works nicely. Proportions are good. No problems there. No real problems with the discolored elbows and knees, by the way, so that's nice. You do get a shin swivel at the top of the wraps. The feet go basically all the way back. That's nice. They go all the way forward, or at least far enough forward. And then, well, hold on. First you get your ankle rocker, which is pretty good, and you can adjust it with your shin swivel, so that's nice. But then they put the toe joint in. Now, we have to talk about the toe joint. Is it necessary for SAGAT? Pretty much. Is this the best version of it? They did a good job placing it and sculpting it, but they made it pinless, and as far as I can tell, it's not an insert mold. It is, I guess it could be. It might just be pushed on there. Anyway, it's kind of loose. So be aware, you might not have the most stability on those toes, but they are well sculpted and well placed. And I will note the heels and this part are painted, so they don't match the rest of the skin perfectly, but they did a pretty good job. So yeah, this guy, articulation-wise, there's not a whole lot they could have done better, or at least needed to do better. It pretty much does everything you want it to do. So I'm going to give this a I'm gonna say 9.5 out of 10. That is pretty darn good. It's really just the toe hinge could be a little bit more stable since he's probably gonna be standing on them. They don't give me a lot of confidence on the shelf. So yeah, be aware of that. But otherwise, it's pretty much exactly what you want it to be. So that's awesome. All right, now time for the final verdict on this guy. Easily the best figure of the bunch, if you ask me. Not because he's one of my favorites. Guile is also one of my favorites, and he was actually most recently the best, I think. Maybe Chun-Li still. I don't know. Anyway, this guy's the best of the bunch so far. They have improved. And they really needed to do a good job with this one because it's like, okay, it's coming in at a higher price point. Even if it's justified, that's still going to be a thing for people to latch onto. So you better deliver. And unlike some companies who just raise the price point and underwhelm everybody, this is, I think, exactly, I mean, practically speaking, exactly what everybody wanted and needed to see from Jada. So good on them. This is the kind of thing I love to see in the toy industry. So I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 9.5 out of 10. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of room for improvement here and there, but it is by no means something to keep you from buying this figure. Really, really great release. I'm thrilled with it, and I have to tell you, Blanca might be even better. In some ways he's not, but in other ways he is, so come back for that review too. But that's it for me, guys, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.